Hi everyone, I'm Teacher Im and I prepare videos to help my students score better in their STPM Maths T paper, and I hope my videos can be helpful for you too. Well, today we are going to talk about transforming trigonometric equation with the R formula. So what's it about? Let's get to the video. Okay, basically the formula itself. Okay, let's talk about the formula itself. The R formula are used in this format, and it is used to transform equation of trigonometry functions like this into this one. Okay, so we have to be careful. The R itself is a value which is larger than 0, and the alpha that we are going to calculate will be in the first quadrant, or we call it the positive acute angle, or is between 0 to 90 degree. Okay, so if we see this formula more clearly, it should look like this. So a cos theta plus b sin theta will be transformed to this format, so it's r cos theta minus alpha. And if the a cos theta minus b sin theta, it could be transformed to r cos theta plus alpha, and so on. These two for the sign when it is in front. So basically, when we look at the equation, we will notice first whether the sign or the cos is in front before we start choosing the formula. Okay, so that is the basic formula of this equation. All right, so let's have a look. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 4 methods. This is one of them. Okay, I'm going to talk about 4 methods on how actually we can transform equation that comes with in this format, in this trigonometry formula, into the R formula. In STPM questions, sometimes the R formula format are given to you. Okay, sometimes it's not. So you have to decide whether to use the R cos or the R sine formula. Okay, so whether it is a R cos or sine formula, basically we will refer of what is the leading form. So for this case, the leading one is a cos. So we will have 4 cos theta. Okay, so I will start with the first method, which is the conventional method, the method that you see in every mathematics books that you can find in STPM syllabus. All right, so how do we do that? The first thing is, of course, we will state down the formula or the equation, the R formula, which we are going to use when transforming this equation. So the R formula that we get here, we got it from the question, but sometimes it's not. So that one thing that you have to remember. So you have to recognize which one to choose. Okay, the theta is in front plus alpha, and we need to expand this cos theta plus alpha. We need to expand that. How to expand that? Well, you have to remember your form 5 formula. There's the form 5 formula over there. So we have the a cos a plus b, okay, is equivalent to cos a minus b. For our case, we need the plus sign. Okay, so we will transform following this formula into this format. So that will be the R, okay, which is in front R here, and then cos theta, cos alpha, following the cos A, cos B from the formula itself. And then because this is plus, so according to the formula, if it is a plus, it should be a minus. So we have a minus here, and then R sine theta, sine alpha. Okay, so that's how we expand that formula using the form 5 formula. Right, once we settle with the expansion, the next thing we are going to do is the comparison. We compare the formula that we expanded, okay, we expand just now with the original question itself. Okay, we compare the one we expand with the original question itself. So that will go like this. So we will refer to the cos theta, and we will see whatever in front of the cos theta, for this case is 4, and we will write it for those which we expand. So we have the r here and the cos alpha here. So we will write equation 1 as 4r cos alpha. Okay, once we done that, that will be our equation 1, as I said just now. Then we refer to our equation 2. Okay, from where? From the sine theta. So we always refer to the theta. Okay, we mark the theta first. That is our sine theta over there. And then from there, okay, from there, we will refer to the element in front of the sine theta. Take note, there is a negative in front of it, so we are going to bring it along. Okay, so that will be negative 3 equivalent to what? Equivalent to negative r. So which means the negative will cancel itself, means we will bring the r and the sine alpha, which is equivalent to the 3, because here we have a negative and here we have a negative. So it's such kind of the comparison can be settled that way. So we will just bring the 3 and the r sine alpha, and we will make it as equation 2. Okay, easy busy, right? Okay, now once we got equation 1 and 2, we will take equation 1. Okay, from equation 1, we will take equation 1 and we square the whole thing. So that will be 4 squared and r cos alpha squared. And we will get this as 16 equals to r squared and cos squared alpha. Don't square the alpha, but square the cos. Okay, so that will give us equation 3. Okay, once our equations are ready for this is up the third equation, we still need the fourth equation. So let me go into the fourth equation. So that is the third equation that we prepared just now. Okay, so now for the fourth equation, I need to square the equation 2. Okay, I will take equation 2 and I will square it. So I will set in my equation 2 as so. Same like just now. I squared both sides of it. And then I will create another equation, which is equation 4. Okay, now we have all the equation ready. We are going to put it into together. So equation 3 will plus with equation 4. And we will create something like this. Okay, so we have 16 plus 9 equivalent to r squared cos squared alpha plus r squared sine squared alpha. Okay, so we will put them together and then we will factorize the r squared out. Okay, we will factorize the r squared out and we will get something like this. Now, remember this one, right? You remember cos squared alpha plus sine squared alpha. It belongs to this formula over here. Ta-da! Okay, so that is your trigonometric formula, of course. So it is that sine squared alpha plus cos squared alpha equivalent to 1. Okay, so we actually have this formula to help us. So all this side, we will transform it to 1. So what is left for us is 225, equals to r squared. Okay, we actually have that only. So we will simplify, we will settle that. We will get r is equivalent to plus minus 5. But remember, what the condition is? The condition is the r have to be a positive number. The r have to be bigger than 0. So when the condition says so, our r value have to be 5. Okay? So we got our first element, which is r. Okay, once we got that already, the next thing that we are going to do is we need to find our alpha. So how are we going to do that? Well, the alpha, we are going to use 2 divided by 1. So 2 divided by 1 is equation 2 here. Will be 3 equals to r sine alpha. So I just copy equation 2 on top and equation 1 at the bottom. I'm not going to read that. Okay, so to save time. So sine over cos will transform to tangent. That you know from your trigo last time. Okay, so when you learn trigo, you should know that sine over cos will be tangent. So that is your tangent over there. And you can use the calculator to make sure you get the answer, and your calculator is set in nicely. If you want your answer in degree form, you set your calculator in degree form. If you want the answer in radian form, then you set your calculator in radian form. Okay, so for this question, I will set the calculator in degree form and I will calculate and get 36. Now that we already got the alpha, the next thing will be the equation itself. So we transform this into the equation. So this is our question just now, 4 cos theta minus 3 sin theta. We will transform it into the R formula, the 5 cos, the one they gave in the question, and then theta plus 36.87 for significant feature. Okay, try to put your answer in 4 significant feature or any decimal place that the question asks for. Okay, so it depends on the question, but most of the time we need the answer in 4 significant feature. So 36.87, and that's how we transform a trigonometry equation like this into the format of the R formula. Easy. Method number 1 done. Okay, let's check out method number 2. I use another question. Okay, for this question, it is given again inside the question 5 sine 2x. Okay, sine 2x, no worries. It still works the same way. And they gave you the formula as it start with sine. So they wanted the R sine 2x minus alpha formula. All right. So, but in this question, they mentioned R has to be bigger than 0 and R is between 0 alpha to pi over 2. Now, they gave you in the format of pi over 2, which means in this question, they wanted the answer in radian form. Okay, anytime when they ask, when they gave you in the format of pi, the answer is best answered the question is best answered in the form of radian. Okay, so let's perform the same thing. I'm going to use the sine formula this time, so it will goes like this. Okay, that is the formula for us to expand. So for method number 2, again, we will expand the equation. And after we expand the equation, I am not going to mention one by one already. You just follow this formula over here and you fill up the equation. Sine 2x, and that's the 2x, and then cos, that will be the a, and then the alpha will be the b. Okay, so you fill up this formula. After you fill up, you will start to compare. So I'm not going to go further. I will start to compare and careful see what they gave you. They gave you sine 2x. So I'm going to block out that sine 2x. So whatever in front of sine 2x is the number that I need. Same like just now. So the one that I need now is the R and the cos alpha. Okay, the one that I need is the R and the cos alpha. So I will write down equation 1. Finish with the first part. I will go for the second one. So first I check the symbol. So that's correct. That is the minus and that's the minus. So that is safe. So I need my 7. Okay, I need the 7. So here I will block the cos 2x equivalent to the questions, cos 2x. So I will block that. So whatever that I have together with it, that will be my equivalent to my 7. Okay, so that will be the R, which is outside here. Okay, because this time I did not expand it in. Previous question, I expanded it in. So this one I didn't expand. So the R is still outside. And then we have the sine alpha. So R sine alpha. So we kind of save one step there. Okay, so once we get the equation out, which you always must have, the equation for method number 2. Now, once you get equation 1 and 2, this time I'm not going to expand one by one, but I'm going to do it together. So I'm going to plus them together and I'm going to do it together. So I will have this R squared cos theta. So you have to remember that the squared belongs to both of them, the R and the cos, and so is for the R and the sine. Okay, so we will put them all one shot together, and then the 5 squared and 7 squared we will put behind. Okay, same like just now, I'm going to factorize the R squared out, and then what is left is something which I had from previous one, which is the cos squared alpha and the sine squared alpha. Do you remember? Yes. Okay, that will give you that equivalent to 1. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that. So that will be equivalent to 1. So what is left is R squared. So I'm going to settle it. But this time, because this number is not a perfect square root, so I'm going to just leave it there for a while. Okay, I'm not going to put the plus minus there either. Okay, then I'm going to go for the second part, which I need to calculate the alpha. All right. So this is the cos alpha 5 over r. And then that is the equation 2 from the second equation, sine alpha 7 over r. I will take these two equations and then I will create my tangent. So you know already tangent alpha, that is a must. You have to calculate. You must calculate your r. You must calculate the tangent alpha. Okay, so you will write tangent alpha. You know from the trigonometry, tangent alpha is sine over cos. So you will set it in nicely and then you will do the division. Once that is done, that is 7 over 5. You get the answer and then you press the calculator. Okay, you press the calculator and you will get 0.9505. Like I said just now, I wanted my answer in radian form. So I press the calculator. My calculator mode is in radian form. Okay, once that is done, it's time for me to fill up the formula. Okay, so that is my equation over here, the one that given inside the question. And that is the R formula created. So that is the R and then sine and then x, 2x minus the alpha that I created. Once I put in the find into that format, I will get 1 mark. Most of the time it's like that. So the R, the alpha, and this equation plus the expansion will give you all the marks that you need for the question in method number 2. Okay, are you ready for method number 3? Well, in method number 3, well, the question is still the same and they still want it in radian form. That is from what I see over here, 0 alpha until pi over 2, and it started with sine, so we are going to use the sine formula as given in the question. In STPM, sometimes they don't give it this in the question, so you have to be aware of that. So you need to learn how to memorize which one to choose. Okay, so I will use the formula as so. Okay, in this third method, the expansion is still a must. So you can pause the video and you can use that formula over there and expand this part over here. Okay, you can try that. All right. Then you check the answer and that is the answer. All right. Next is you can expand in, like I say in like method number 1, I expanded it in, and method number 2, I did not. Well, it's up to you whether you want to expand it in or not. If you feel that, teacher, I can remember there's the R outside, then you can keep the R outside and continue with the next step. If not, you just expand it in. Which one to block? Well, from method number 1 and number 2, you already kind of had the idea. So it depends on the question. The question say is sine x. Okay, so sine x. So we are going to block sine x. And we were going to compare it with the one with sine x inside our equation. So r cos alpha is going to be equivalent to 2. And we're going to write it there. Okay, r cos alpha going to be equivalent to 2. We write it there. And then in this method number 3, we change it, we prepare it this way. Cos alpha equals to 2 over r. So we just bring the r over. Okay. Next thing is I'm going to block cos x. So I already blocked it. I'm sure you will pause the video and you will try to write out the answer first. Okay. Have you? Yeah, you have, right? So we already put it in. So that I blocked the cos x. So what is left is r sine alpha. So I will write it in and it will be equivalent to 3. But please make sure you check the one in front. Okay, so you will write it in and you prepare it in the trigo form. All right, it's all prepared. Let's use this. Okay, in this method number 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this and prepare my tangent first. Okay, so tangent alpha is equals to sine alpha divided by cos alpha. Like I say, no matter you use method number 1, 2, or 3, you must have your alpha, you must have your r, you must have your expansion, okay, and you must have the equation after it has been completed. So all these things you have to take note, okay. So now I'm going to prepare this by using the calculator only. So you can omit this one. If you feel that, teacher, I don't want to waste time to write this, it's okay. But as long as you get tangent alpha equals to 3 over 2, that is a must. Okay, you must write tangent alpha equals to 3 over 2. And then you press the calculator and write alpha equals to 0.9828 for significant feature. Okay, and please remember, sometimes the students got too fast. They forgot to write alpha equals to 0.9828. From here, they press the calculator and they straight away write equals to 0.9828. All right, so which is actually wrong, because tangent alpha is equivalent to 3 over 2, but alpha is equals to 0.9828. So please be careful. Don't make that mistake and lose your marks. Okay, so once that is done, like usual, we need our alpha, which is already ready. The next thing is we are going to go for the R. For this question, for this method, I'm going to use that triangle. Okay, I'm sure you know that triangle, right? That is the angle where we use this formula. Sine theta equals to opposite over hypotenuse, and cos theta equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. So I will just refer to my cos alpha and sine alpha and fill out the values. Okay, so I will fill out all the values. Okay, and I'm going to use the Pythagoras theorem here, because I don't want to do the square thing which I use in method number 1 and number 2. So I use directly the Pythagoras theorem to calculate my R. Okay, this Pythagoras theorem, you have already learned it in your form 3, if I'm not mistaken. So if you got that knowledge already, why not use it, okay, in method number 3? Okay, so using the Pythagoras theorem, and then you will calculate the R. Remember, the R have to be a positive R as long as you set it in. If you didn't open the square root, then it's still okay. But if you open the square root, means you calculate the square root, you have to put plus, minus, and make a choice, okay, whether it is a positive or a negative. But remember, R is always bigger than 0, so we need the positive value. Okay, now I'm going to put it into the equation. Let's see, my head is blocking, so let me get rid of myself first for a while. Okay, so I close the camera for a while, just for a while. 1 minute. All right, so that's the answer. Okay, that's the answer where after I put it into the equation. So all right, no problem. So you just follow up R sine x plus alpha. So the alpha is in radian form, so it is stated as so. All right, let's go to the next method. Okay, so in this method number 4, it is going to be super easy, but it is referring directly to your formula itself. So I use this formula, it is given inside the question, like I say, I already mentioned a few times, in STPM it might not, it might. So you have to depends on how lucky you are. If you are lucky, then that will be in the question. Okay, so this is set into the question, so you know that expansion should look like this. Okay, because you need to memorize all these formulas. So R cos theta plus alpha should look like this after from the equation. Okay, once you get that, you just compare them. Means you use the comparison method, directly comparison. So it will look like this. So your R equals equivalent to square root of a squared plus b squared. Something from method number 3, adjusted. Okay, so actually this formula is given in some of the books. All right. Method number 4. So using these two formula, you know the alpha is b over tangent alpha is b over a, and the R is using this. So we are going to directly compare the a and the b values from the equation itself. So we compare and we get our a is equivalent to 3 and our b is equivalent to 4, and we take that and we put it inside our formula. Okay, we put it inside the formula, and voila, the answer is out. Because this question, they didn't mention whether they want in pi form or in degree form, so I just left my answer in degree form. The last part of the question, of course, is to write them into the R formula. So I will need to put it back. So the R is 5 and the cos is this one. Oh, this method is very easy, right? But this method needs you to memorize all these sets of formula, these pink color ones and the yellow color ones. You need to memorize those to be able to do this fast. But unfortunately, okay, in exam, depends on what they want in the question. Like I say, most of the time they will want you to expand. Okay, they will need you to expand, and then they will need you to have that equation 1 and 2, and then they will need you to calculate your R. They will need you to calculate your alpha. So that is the 4 things very important. And then they need you to put the equation, the whatever you calculated, into the correct form. Okay, so most of the time, if you look at the question, let me show you as the STPM question. Yeah, that's the STPM question. Okay, the question is given as so. Lucky for those who are in STPM 2015, question 7, the equation is given. They want it in the form of the radian. Okay, and it is 4 marks. So which means in these 4 marks, you need to calculate the R. You must show the examiner there's a R there from the whether method number 1, 2, or 3. Okay, you have to use method number 1, 2, or 3. And then you can have to have the tangent alpha equals to what and the alpha. And then you must have the values, okay, put inside nicely inside the equation. Okay, means from read the whatever R and alpha you calculate, must write it in back into the equation. I'm not going to do the question. You can try this question yourself. Okay, and then you have this 2018, same thing. They will give you the equation, and then they say it's 4 marks. So same thing. So it is advisable to use either method number 1, 2, or 3 to do this question over here. Okay, advisable. But when do you want to use this method number 4? It looks so easy and so nice to use, right? Well, method number 4 can be used when you see question like, for example, they give you this equation like this, and then they ask you to sketch the graph. You know, a sketch in STPM is 3 marks. So let's say they ask you to sketch the graph, and then they put there 4 marks, which means you need to get that equation out, the one in the R formula out, super fast. Okay, super fast. So you use the 4th method to create that equation. Okay, to create the equation, and then you sketch the graph. Then that will give you the 4 marks that you need for the sketch of the graph for the trigonometry. Okay, but if let's say it comes out in a 15 marks question like this one over here on top of my head here, okay, like this one, it is advisable to use either method number 1, 2, or 3. You can choose one, whichever you feel convenient to you. Okay, whichever you feel that it is okay, then use it. Okay, well, that's all from me today. Okay, so I will see you in my next video. If you like what you see, please hit the like button. Like I say in most of my live show, the like button is just like a motivation power pill. Okay, because we teachers are very tired. We have our own PTPR class, so we are very tired. But when we see the like and we see the amount of people who share or subscribe or maybe watch our video, then that's the power for us to do more for you. So please hit the like button to motivate me to do more videos for you. That's all. See you in my next video. Bye. Have a good day and please get your A. Alright. Bye.